to believe that Allah is the only God and he sits on a throne somewhere up in the sky. He's up there, he's not down there. And he's totally separate from his creation. I think this is madness.
And he really hates other people and he considers them his enemies. And he wants Muslims to also hate those other enemies.
Right.
And to fight them and to kill them.
Well, the Jewish people don't want to accept the fact that a religious majority, some 20% of the population of Earth, hate them. But this is not going to actually cancel the threat. Mm-hmm. The threat is there. The facts are there. Muslims have been acting on it for 14 centuries. The ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people from the Arab Peninsula is documented in the Islamic resources. The Islamic hatred in the Quran, dehumanizing the Jewish people, degrading them as inferior beings. They're not even humans, mm-hmm. according to the Quran. They are apes and pigs. Yeah. At the beginning, they were God's chosen people, but now they are outlaws. Now they are disobedient. And the duty of the Muslims on earth is to punish the Jewish people. What a coincidence. What we are dealing with in the Middle East right now, and all those who deny the religious connection, and they say this is a misinterpretation of a peaceful religion. Either they are ignorant, they haven't studied the topic, or they are in denial, mm-hmm. or they are liars. They are liars because they have something to lose or they have something to gain. And this is the type of people who have been pushing the Islamic agendas. But in the meantime, people like us, we have to deal with the Islamic violence, yeah. as the majority give them the cover. And this is where I say it for what it is. They like it, they don't like it. This is the truth, and I can support it with facts.
Here is the problem. I think that many people, especially who are inside the conflict, sometimes don't want to acknowledge how messed up it is because they don't want to lose hope. But you still have to face the realities. What do you think? Do you think that there is a peaceful solution possible while Islam is still there, while Islam has such a stronghold on, the people in the region?
Right. Look, it is not about solution. It's about integration. It's about dropping false identities and identifying with the real. Most of the Muslims identify as Muslims, but when we ask them, what makes you a Muslim? They don't know how to answer. Mm-hmm. When they were born free, children of earth, children of the universe, children of God. They had equal opportunity like the rest of humanity. They have the same potential. But then the Islamic identity was pushed on them. And now they hanging onto it so hard because they don't know any other identity. And this is why I say the majority of the Muslim people, what so-called Muslim people, are actually not practicing Muslims. Mm-hmm. And most of them are doomed to hell according Allah himself and according to the Quran, mm-hmm. because they are in violation of the Islamic laws. Mm-hmm. They drink, they commit sin, they break the Islamic laws. They are going against the will of Allah anyway. So to continue to identify as Muslims doesn't make any sense. And to me, I find it actually pathetic because they are identifying with the Islamic identity for security, mm-hmm. for status, for recognition, for respectability, This is the only thing. It's not about righteousness. And their anger when you challenge their identity is because of their fear. This is why they are angry. This is why they are violent. This is why they are anti all the non-Muslims. And today in the 21st century, I really find it very hard to believe that we have some 2 billion people projecting their delusion on something that is non-existential, a hypothetical entity that does not exist. I'm not saying that God does not exist, because in my opinion, there is no difference between the believer and the disbeliever. Both of them are two sides of the same coin. But to believe that Allah is the only God and he sits on a throne somewhere up in the sky, he's up there, he's not down there, and he's totally separate from his creation, I think this is madness.
And he really hates other people and he considers them his enemies. And he wants Muslims to also hate those other enemies.
Right.
And to fight them and to kill them.
And as long as we don't discuss this problem, because we don't want to hurt their feelings, they will continue to be in this darkness. And I think throughout the centuries, a huge part of humanity will choose to be in delusion, in the cave of Plato, looking at shadows and they thinking it's real. A handful of people can make it out of that cave, and when they see the light, they try to help those who are sitting in darkness, in fear. They get persecuted. This is the essence of the Greek philosophy. The nature of the mind, the nature of the ego. It's not a he, it's not a she, it's not separate, and it projects itself in limitless forms. That includes men, women, animal, nature. All forms belong to that divine intelligence, and to just limit it or reduce it to an ego mind, then start to act as the sword of God on earth, punishing people for disobedience or punishing people for being different is not acceptable.
I grew up being told, and I'm sure you did too, that in the possible near future, as Prophet Muhammad said, we Muslims will fight the Jews, and we Muslims will kill the Jews until the Jews hide themselves behind a rock or a tree, and a rock or a tree will say, "O Muslim, servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him." Except for the Karkat tree, which is the tree of the Jews. I heard this when I was a little child. I went to my friends in Germany, growing up as a Muslim kid in Germany, telling my friends about it and seeing them shocked. And I didn't understand at that point how messed up that was. I'm pretty sure that you heard that as well from early childhood. And so do other people growing up where you grew up, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, the hadith, لا تقوم الساعة حتى, meaning the end time will not come until the Muslims kill the Jews. So this is a condition for the Muslims to get to the point where the judgment day means that the end of this life as we know it, and then it would be the beginning of the kingdom of their heaven, where Allah is going to be sitting on a throne and he's going to decide who's going to hell and who's going to heaven. And of course, the Muslims, the true Muslims, are going to heaven, and all the non-Muslims are going to be doomed in eternal fire. In order for the Muslims to get to that point, they must kill the Jews first. This is a duty on behalf of Allah. So this is very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous, and it's in the most trusted Islamic source. But it's not only in the Hadith. It's also in the Quran.
And it's also in the Hamas charter. And it has been part of the conflict the entire time. I know that the so-called reasonable Fatah, for example, in Judea and Samaria, or also known as the West Bank, they have been preaching this hadith to Muslims in the mosque. Just a few weeks after October 7, 2023, they had it during their Friday prayer. The imams were instructed to tell the people this hadith again, and that this will come true regardless of what happens now. So what's very, very upsetting to me, honestly, is you and I both know that there is a very, very messed up and very deep Jew hatred that is deeply entrenched in the religion, and that is possibly the main reason for this entire conflict. But people don't realize it. Even in Israel, when I went to Israel, it looked to me as if most Israelis don't see and don't agree that Islam is the problem, which is so weird, because I grew up my entire life learning that Israelis are demons and the worst people and that we have to kill them and so on. And there are Israelis saying, oh no, Islam is not the problem. Why do you think this is?
It's hard to believe, because other religions judge Islam and weigh Islam based on their belief systems. And since Islam was established in the 7th century Arabia, and the Quran is written in classic Arabic, which in fact most Muslims don't understand when they read it, you must understand the eloquence of the classic Arabic. It's a very sophisticated language. It's poetic. And in order to study classic Arabic, you have to spend many, many years. And even if you do that, you may not understand the Quran completely. Even though the Quran is being chanted 5 times a day through loudspeakers throughout the Muslim world, and Muslims repeat it as parrots without understanding what it's actually saying. So how can I expect from other religions to actually understand? And by the way, this was one of the main problems that I had. Why the majority of humanity was doomed to Allah's hell, and the only way for them to towards salvation, that they need to actually understand Arabic, classic Arabic, in order to understand the language or to decode the language of the divine. So this sounded unfair